Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Do you understand English, but the moment you open your mouth, you freeze? You know the grammar. You have studied the vocabulary. But when someone speaks to you, your brain goes quiet, and then a small voice inside starts to search. It searches for the right word in your language first. Then it tries to turn that word into English, and by the time you find it, the conversation has moved on. You are not slow. You are not stupid. You are translating. And today, that stops. This lesson is for English learners who want to think, not just translate. If you have ever felt that gap between what you understand and what you can say, this lesson was made for you. We are not going to study grammar today. We are not going to memorize word lists. We are going to rewire a habit. A deep habit. The kind of habit that lives in your brain, not in your notebook. By the end of this lesson, you will have 7 practical drills, not tips, drills. Things you can start doing today, in your kitchen, on your commute, in your head, that will slowly, steadily, permanently change the way your brain works in English. This is not about being perfect. Sounding like a native speaker overnight is not the goal. This is about removing one wall, the biggest wall, the wall between your thought and your voice. Some people call it fluency, others call it flow. I call it thinking, because there is a difference between knowing English and thinking in English, and that difference is everything. Right now, your brain has a habit. When you want to express something, it first thinks in your mother tongue, then it translates. That translation takes time, it takes effort, and in a real conversation, you do not have time. So you hesitate. You stall. You say, a lot. Not because you do not know the language, but because you are working twice as hard as you need to. Today, we are going to cut that in half. There are 7 lessons in this video, 7 drills. Each one is simple. Each one is practical. None of them require a teacher, a classroom, or a textbook. You just need your brain and the willingness to catch yourself in the middle of an old habit and choose a new one. Are you ready? Let us get to work. Don't translate, think. Lesson 1. The translation trap. Let me tell you about someone you might recognize. She has been studying English for 5 years. She watches English movies. She reads English articles. Her grammar is solid. Her vocabulary is decent, but the moment she sits in a meeting at work and someone asks her a question in English, something happens. Her chest tightens. Her mind goes blank. She opens her mouth and nothing comes out. Or worse, something comes out, but it sounds wrong. And she knows it sounds wrong, and that knowledge makes everything harder. Her name does not matter, because she could be you. She could be anyone in this room right now. Here is what is really happening. When she hears a question in English, her brain does not immediately think in English. It translates the question into her mother tongue first. Then it thinks of an answer in her mother tongue. Then it tries to translate that answer back into English. Then it checks the translation. Then it second-guesses the grammar. And only then, if she is lucky, does something come out of her mouth. That is 4 steps, 4 separate mental operations. Every single time. A native speaker, 1 step. Hear it, answer it. No translation, no checking. No second guessing, just thought becoming speech. That gap, those 3 extra steps, is the translation trap. And nobody told you about it when you started. Nobody sat you down and said, one day you will need to remove these extra steps. One day you will need to rewire your brain entirely. They just taught you vocabulary. They just taught you grammar. And you learned it. You learned it well. But you never learned to think. Here is the truth about how language works in the brain. When you learn your mother tongue as a child, you do not translate, you absorb. You hear a word, and it gets connected directly to a feeling, a picture, a sensation. The word hot does not go through a translation process. It connects straight to the memory of touching something that burned. That is direct thinking. When adults learn a second language, they often skip that step. They connect English words not to feelings and images, but to their mother tongue equivalent. So the word cold in English does not connect to the feeling of winter. It connects to the word lun, or frio, or kallt in their own language. And then their brain goes to the feeling. One extra step, every single word, thousands of times a day. Now imagine cutting that step out. Imagine the English word connecting directly to the image, the feeling, the idea. No detour, no translation, just meaning. That is what thinking in English feels like. And that is exactly what we are building toward. And it starts not with more vocabulary, not with more grammar, but with noticing the trap you are already in. Most people who struggle to speak English are not struggling because they do not know enough. They are struggling because their brain is doing too much work. The solution is not to add more knowledge. The solution is to remove a step. You were taught to translate. Nobody told you to stop. Today, we stop. Lesson 2. The wall in your brain. Think about this for a moment. When you learned to drive a car, do you remember how it felt at the beginning? You had to think about every single thing. Check the mirror, press the clutch, shift the gear, watch the road, signal before you turned. Your brain was working at full capacity just to move the car forward. Now think about how you drive today. You get in, you go. Your hands move without thinking. Your eyes check the mirror without a conscious decision. Your foot knows when to brake before your mind has finished processing the situation. Driving is no longer a conscious act. You are simply in motion. A habit inside the brain looks like this. The steps that once required full attention have been compressed into one single automatic action. Language works the same way. Right now, for many of you, speaking English still feels like driving on day one. Every sentence requires a conscious decision. Every word requires a search. The brain has not compressed the steps yet because the steps have not been repeated enough times in the right way. Here is the problem with how most people practice. They add knowledge, but they do not build automaticity. They study more words. They watch more videos. They take more classes. And their understanding grows, but their fluency does not keep up. Because fluency is not knowledge. Fluency is speed. Fluency is compression. Fluency is the moment your brain stops thinking about language and starts using it. A researcher named Noam Chomsky spent his life studying how human beings acquire language. One of his most important observations was this. Children do not learn grammar consciously. They absorb patterns through exposure and use. They do not study rules first and then speak. They speak badly, then better, then well. The grammar comes from the inside, not from a textbook. Adults can do the same thing, but only if they stop treating English as a subject to study and start treating it as a tool to use. Every day, in every situation, even badly. Translation adds a wall between your brain and your mouth. That wall is built from habit. Every time you reached for your mother tongue first, the wall got a little thicker. Every time you paused to mentally check a translation, another brick went up. The wall is not made of lack of knowledge. It is made of repetition. Thousands and thousands of tiny moments where your brain chose the long road instead of the short one. And here is the thing about walls. They did not build themselves overnight. You will not knock them down overnight either. But every time you choose to think in English, even for 1 second, even with a broken sentence, even silently in your own head, you are taking a brick away. One brick at a time. There are people who have done this completely. People who did not grow up speaking English, who did not live in an English-speaking country, but who rewired their brains so thoroughly that they now dream in English. They think in English when they are angry. They count in English. They argue with themselves in English. Not because they are special, because they committed to removing the wall one thought at a time. That can be you. Not immediately, not this week, but sooner than you think if you start with the drills in this lesson and you do not stop. Because the drills are simple. What is not simple is consistency. What is not simple is catching yourself every time your brain tries to take the long road and choosing the short one instead. Treating it like a subject gives you knowledge. Living English like a tool gives you a voice. We are building you a voice today. Lesson 3. Label your world. Start small. Start here. Look around you right now. If you are sitting in a room, look at the things in that room. The chair you are sitting on. The table in front of you. The window. The cup. The lamp. The floor. Now ask yourself when you see those things, what language appears in your mind first? For most of you, it is your mother tongue. You see a cup, and your brain says the word for cup in your first language, automatically, without trying. That automatic response is the habit we are working on, and this drill is one of the simplest, most effective ways to begin changing it. The drill is this. Every object you see, name it in English. Not out loud, not yet, just in your mind. You walk into your kitchen in the morning, and instead of your brain moving through the space in your first language, you gently guide it. Refrigerator, counter, kettle, sink, window, sunlight. This is not translation. This is labeling. There is a real difference between the two. Translation is reactive. A thing appears, your brain gives you the word in your own language, and then you convert it. Labeling is direct. You see the thing and reach straight for the English word, bypassing your first language entirely. At the beginning, it will feel slow. You will have to search. That search is exactly the point. Every search is a new connection being made in your brain between the image and the English word. A man named Joseph Conrad was born in Poland in 1857. English came to him late, not until his 20s. He grew up speaking Polish and French, and yet he became one of the most celebrated English language writers in history. His novels, Heart of Darkness, Lord Jim, Nostromo, are studied in universities around the world as masterpieces of the English language. How? No exam, no course. He went to sea. He worked on English ships surrounded by English speakers, and he forced himself to live inside the language. He did not treat English as something he was learning. He treated it as the air he was breathing. He never translated. He thought. That spirit is what this drill is about. This drill is not about memorizing new words right now. You probably already know the words for most things in your home, your office, your daily life. The goal is to activate those words, to make them the first words that appear, not the second. Start in your bedroom. When you wake up tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, look at 5 objects and name them in English. Bed, pillow, ceiling, door, light. Then your bathroom, mirror, toothbrush, faucet, towel, soap. Then your kitchen. The 3 objects closest to you right now in English, out loud or in your mind. Name them. Own them. Do not learn the word. Live with it. This is your first drill. Simple, quiet, private. Nobody will know you are doing it. But your brain will know. Because every time you reach for the English word first, You are making the English path just slightly faster than the translation path. Do it enough times, and the English path becomes automatic. Before we move to the next lesson, a quick pause. If this video is helping you, if you feel like something is shifting in the way you think about thinking in English, please consider sharing it with one person who needs it. Hit the like button so more people find this lesson, and subscribe if you want more English lessons built for your mind, not just your vocabulary. I will be here every week with something that actually changes how you think. Now, back to work. Lesson 4. The voice in your head. Now this is the hard one. Every person walking around on this planet has a voice in their head. Not a strange voice, not a sign of anything wrong. Just the quiet, constant inner commentary that runs through your mind all day long. You wake up and the voice says something. You get stuck in traffic and the voice has opinions about it. You make a mistake at work and the voice is right there saying things you probably do not need to hear. That voice is running in your first language right now. All day, every day. And it is the most powerful English teacher you have never used. Think about how often you talk to yourself. In the morning, getting ready. What am I going to wear today? Do I have time for breakfast? I need to remember to send that email. During your commute. This traffic is terrible. I should have left earlier. I wonder if she is angry with me. At work. This meeting could have been an email. I do not understand what he wants. I am so tired. That is hundreds of sentences. Every single day. All of them happening in your first language. All of them practice opportunities you are leaving on the table. Simple. Catch the voice, switch it. Not every thought. Not all at once. Start with one moment. Pick one part of your day, just one, and decide that during that time the voice in your head will speak English. Your commute. The time you cook dinner. The first 10 minutes after you wake up. During that time when a thought appears in your first language, you gently catch it and translate it one last time. Then you let the English version sit in your mind. You let it become the thought, not the translation of the thought. The difference is small at first, but it compounds. Think about what most people do when they want to improve their speaking. They wait until they are more confident, until their grammar is better, until they feel ready. And the waiting becomes the habit. Waiting until you are ready to speak is how you make sure you are never ready. Speaking to become ready is different. Messy, imperfect, but real. Every broken sentence your inner voice produces in English is one more rep, one more connection, one more moment where the brain chose the English path over the long road. There will be gaps. You will reach for a word and not find it. Good. That gap is a signal. It tells your brain that it needs to fill that gap, and brains do not like gaps. They fill them. Given time and enough exposure, your brain will go looking for the word it needed, and the next time you reach for it, it will be there. Don't translate. Think. This is what that looks like in practice. You are washing dishes. A thought comes in your first language. You think something like, I am so tired today. Catch it. Switch it. I am so tired today. Say it in English in your mind. Now, expand it. What do I want to do after this? I want to sit down. I want some tea. Maybe I will call my friend. Broken sentences are fine. Wrong grammar is fine. Nobody is listening. That voice belongs to you. Use it. Own it. Make it English. The voice in your head is your most powerful English teacher. And unlike every other teacher, it is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, completely free. And it already knows everything you want to say. All you have to do is change the language it speaks. Lesson 5. Think out loud. You do not need an audience. This is the lesson that makes people uncomfortable, because it asks you to do something that feels silly. Something that feels like a child learning to read by moving their lips. Something that you might be embarrassed to do even when you are completely alone. It asks you to speak out loud to nobody. And I am telling you right now, this single habit is responsible for more fluency breakthroughs than any class, any textbook, any app ever built. Because there is a gap between thinking a sentence and saying a sentence that most people never close. You can think a sentence perfectly in your head and then open your mouth and watch it fall apart. Why? Because thinking uses one part of your brain, speaking uses another. And those two parts need to be trained together, not separately. Your job is to narrate your life, out loud, in English. You are making coffee. You say quietly, just to yourself, I am making coffee. I need to wait for the water to boil. I like my coffee strong. No sugar today. You are walking to work. You say, it is a little cold this morning. I should have worn a jacket. The street is quiet. There are not many people yet. You are sitting at your desk before the workday starts. You say, okay, what do I need to do today? First, I need to finish the report. Then I have a meeting at 10. I hope it does not go too long. These are not impressive sentences. They are not complex. They are not the kind of sentences you studied in your textbook. But they are real. They are yours. And the moment you start producing them out loud, something shifts in your brain. The gap between thought and speech begins to close. Kobe Bryant grew up in Italy. When he was 6 years old, his father, a professional basketball player, moved the family there. For 7 years, Kobe lived in a country where almost nobody around him spoke English. He went to school in Italian. He played basketball in Italian. He argued with kids in the street in Italian. He did not study the language. He lived inside it. By the time he returned to the United States as a teenager, he was fluent. Not because he had taken classes, because he had refused to stay on the outside of the language. Kobe Bryant was not an English teacher, but he understood something that most language learners do not. Rehearsing perfect sentences is not how you build fluency. Saying imperfect ones now, out loud, in real situations, is how you build fluency. You do not have real situations yet. Make them up. Your kitchen is a real situation. Your commute is a real situation. Your shower is a real situation. Nobody is grading you. Nobody is listening. The only judge is the habit you are either building or not building right now. Fluency is not perfection. Fluency is courage. The courage to say something broken and let it be enough. The courage to reach for a word you are not sure about and use it anyway. And yes, the courage to sound foreign, to sound slow, to sound uncertain, and to keep going. Because every imperfect sentence you say out loud is one your mouth has now practiced. And the next time you need a sentence like it, your mouth will remember, not your brain. Your mouth, your tongue, your voice. That is muscle memory, and it only comes from doing. So close this lesson with one task. Before this video ends, say 3 things in English out loud. Right now, in whatever room you are in, to no one. Anything. What you see, what you feel, what you are thinking. 3 sentences. Imperfect is perfect. Going is everything. Lesson 6. The 5-second drill. Every time you have a thought, any thought, you have 5 seconds. That is the drill. That is the whole drill. 5 seconds to catch the thought before it settles in your first language and flip it into English. Not perfectly. Not completely. Even one word is enough, even a fragment. The goal is the reflex, not the sentence. Here is why 5 seconds matters. When a thought forms in your brain, it is still fluid for a brief moment. It has not yet attached itself to words. In that window, you can guide it. You can choose which language catches it. But if you wait, if you let the thought finish forming in your mother tongue, it solidifies. It becomes a sentence in your first language, and then you are back to translating back to the long road. 5 seconds is the window. Use it. Your phone buzzes. A message from a friend. Before you read it, before your brain starts composing a reply in your first language, you have 5 seconds. What is this probably about? I wonder if she is okay. Maybe it is about this weekend. 5 English thoughts. 5 seconds. You are waiting for the elevator. 5 seconds. The elevator is slow today. I am hungry. I should eat something before the meeting. Done. The habit is building. You spill your coffee. 5 seconds. Oh no, this is a mess. I need a cloth. Where did I put the cloth? Already your brain reached for English in a moment of genuine surprise, which is harder than reaching for it in calm moments. That is progress. The reason this drill works goes deeper than habit. Inside your brain, every repeated thought pathway gets faster with each repetition. Scientists call this myelination. The more a neural pathway fires, the more it gets coated with a substance that makes the signal travel faster. It is like upgrading from a dirt road to a highway. The first time you think in English, it is the dirt road. Slow, uncertain, full of gaps. But the 500th time, the 5,000th time, it is the highway. Automatic, instant, natural. Think about what is actually happening here. Every rep builds infrastructure in your brain. 5 seconds. That is all your brain needs to build the habit. Think about your day as a series of triggers. You wake up, trigger. You make breakfast, trigger. You check your phone, trigger. You leave the house, trigger. You sit at your desk, trigger. Every single one of these moments is an opportunity to fire the English pathway instead of the first language pathway. Not for the entire thought, just for 5 seconds. Just for the reflex. The people who think naturally in English did not get there because they were smarter, or because they had better teachers, or because they started younger. They got there because at some point they started catching their thoughts. They started choosing. 5 seconds at a time, 10 times a day, 365 days a year, until the choice became the default. Don't translate. Think. Thinking about fluency is comfortable. Reading about how to improve is comfortable. Watching videos about fluency is comfortable. But catching yourself mid-thought in the middle of a real moment and making the switch, that is not comfortable. That is discipline. This is the work most people skip because it is invisible, because nobody sees you doing it, because there is no certificate when you finish. But your brain sees it. Your brain counts every single rep, and one day, without warning, you will notice that the thought arrived in English first, not second. First. No translation, no delay. That is the day the wall comes down. Lesson 7. The Compound Mind. This is where it all comes together. You have been building something. Maybe you did not feel it happening. That is fine. The most important things rarely announce themselves while they are being built. You felt it when you drove a car for the first time, and then one day realized you were driving without thinking. You felt it when you learned to type, and then one day your fingers simply knew where the letters were. You do not notice the compound effect while it is working. You only notice the result. This is what is happening in your brain right now. Every label you placed on an object in your home was a rep. Every English thought you caught and held for 5 seconds was a rep. Every sentence you said out loud to nobody, imperfect, broken, quiet, was a rep. No more studying, only training. And training compounds. Here is what happens when you stop translating, when you truly stop. Not just reduce, but stop. 3 things change, and they change together. Your reaction time shrinks. When someone speaks to you in English, the gap between hearing the sentence and understanding it closes. You no longer need to convert. The meaning arrives directly. Your speaking becomes more natural. Not because your grammar suddenly improves, but because you are no longer running 2 processes at once. One process is enough. The thought forms in English, and the mouth follows. Simpler, faster, more you. And the third thing is the strangest. You begin to notice that certain emotions, certain feelings, certain ideas start to feel more natural in English than in your first language. Because you have attached English words directly to experiences, not to translations, the language stops being a code and starts being a home. There was a man named Vladimir Nabokov. Born in Russia in 1899, he grew up speaking Russian, French, and English from childhood, but Russian was the language of his heart, his poetry, his earliest writing. Then history forced him out of Russia. He lived in Germany, then France, then crossed to America at the age of 40. And there in his 40s, he made one of the most astonishing decisions in literary history. He abandoned Russian as his writing language, completely. He began to write exclusively in English. The novels he produced in English, Lolita, Pale Fire, Speak, Memory, are considered among the most beautiful and precise works in the English language. Not works by a native speaker who happened to be talented, works by a man who chose English so completely, so deeply, that it became his strongest voice. Translation was not the path he took. At some point, he simply began to think in English. The language rewired around his mind. You do not need to be Nabokov. Writing novels is not the goal, but the principle holds for everyone from literary genius to ordinary person sitting in a room trying to have a conversation without freezing. The habit of thinking in English is not built in a classroom. It is built in the quiet moments, the commute, the kitchen. The first 10 minutes of the morning before the day asks anything of you. It is built in 5-second catches and imperfect out-loud sentences and objects named without their first language equivalent. Every thought in English is a step. Take enough steps, and fluency finds you. Studying grammar changes what you know about English. Building a thinking habit changes what English is to you. One is a subject. One is a voice. You have been building a voice. Don't translate. Think. 7 lessons. Let us bring them home. Lesson 1. The translation trap. You were taught to translate. Nobody told you to stop. Now you know. And knowing changes what you do next. Lesson 2. The wall in your brain. Translation adds a wall between your brain and your mouth. That wall is built from habit, and habits can be rebuilt, one choice at a time. Lesson 3. Label your world. Every object around you is a practice opportunity. Reach for the English word first, not to learn it, to live with it. Lesson 4. The voice in your head. That constant inner commentary running through your day. Make it English. One moment, one commute, one quiet morning at a time. The voice in your head is your most powerful English teacher. Lesson 5. Think out loud. Say imperfect sentences to nobody. Narrate your life. Let your mouth practice what your brain has been too careful to say. Fluency is not perfection. Fluency is courage. Lesson 6. The 5-second drill. Every thought is a window. Catch it before it closes. 5 seconds. Flip it into English. Do it 10 times a day, and your brain starts building the highway. Lesson 7. The compound mind. Every rep adds up. Every label, every caught thought, every out-loud sentence is a brick in a new structure. Studying English is behind you. Building an English mind is what comes next. 7 lessons, 7 drills, no classroom required, no teacher standing over you, no need to be good yet. The only requirement is that you begin. And here is the thing about beginning. Most people wait for the right moment, waiting for stronger grammar, waiting for more confidence, waiting for life to get quieter, waiting to feel ready. That moment does not come. It is not out there waiting for you. It has to be made. Right now, with what you have, with where you are. Your English brain is not missing. It has just been waiting for you to use it. The learner who freezes in meetings, the one we talked about at the start of this lesson, she does not freeze because she is behind. She freezes because she is still running 2 processes when she only needs 1. Take away the translation step, build the thinking habit, and the freeze goes away. Not overnight, but it goes. That can be you. It will be you if you take 1 drill from today and start it tomorrow morning. Not all 7, just 1. The one that felt most uncomfortable, that is probably the right one. Pick it, name it, start it tomorrow, and then come back. There is more. Every week on this channel, there is another lesson built not just for your vocabulary, but for the way your brain works, the way your confidence grows, the way your voice finds itself in a language that is becoming yours. Don't translate. Think. Tell me in the comments, do you still translate in your head when you speak English? Tell me where you are in the journey. I read every comment. I will see you there. Keep listening daily and to improve your English 1 thought at a time. And keep going. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.